Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at 11 starts now.
A dog left for dead, the ears and nose cut off of a Rottweiler mix, and that's not all. Tonight, the search for who would do such a heartless thing.
Classroom controversy. The lesson a Michigan teacher is refusing to teach this week that has parents talking.
And not just a Fraser problem anymore. The city's massive sinkhole now impacting 11 communities that will soon pay for the fix, which may be more involved than the mess at 15 Mile and Hayes. Glad you're with us tonight at 11. Fraser might be what you'd call ground zero of the problem, but now nearly a dozen other communities have been brought together for a discussion on what happens next.
Rate increases are certain. What's unclear, though, is how much the fix will cost and how much actually needs to be repaired.
Tonight, the county executive Mark Hackel promising the county will be transparent with this process as it moves forward. But just what does it involve? Mara McDonald live in Fraser, where in fact the work continues tonight. Mara?
Good evening to you, Devin. And all those 11 communities are all part of the drainage district that is part of this interceptor and this drainage system. They were all brought together with Hackel, with the Public Works Administration that is now under Candace Miller, and everybody sat down to talk about what's next, what the potential costs are. And believe it or not, you talk to elected officials in these communities, that's not something that was usual here. Take a listen. It smells awful out here, and it's going to be a mess for months. But the real question is, what lies beneath, and is there a systemic problem here? The likelihood of the answer to that being yes is high.
So if it's just going to be repairing this part or fixing the whole thing, I am extremely confident that with Candace Miller and the new Public Works and their direction, everybody's going to understand and have a detailed understanding of what's going on over there and why those costs are attributed.
The county should have a better idea by the beginning of March exactly how bad the problem is and what it's going to cost. And all those 11 communities affected will know going forward what their water rates are going to look like. Hackel says in the past that wasn't the case.
There was a very, I guess if you will, tight-knit group that decided what those rates were going to be, and when communities asked, they were given no information.
Those who will be paying those higher water bills think poor past public works management is to blame for the current mess. Now it's just down to the increased dollars and cents that will show up on their bills.
I think that they've let it go for so long that now it's in such disrepair that it's going to cost hundreds of millions of dollars to fix.
There's no free lunch. You got to have water. You're going to have infrastructure problems that happened a long time ago that weren't properly installed, and now we're learning. And the best thing is we're going to learn about this.
Back here live, I was speaking to one of the elected officials in one of these, affected cities tonight, and I said, give me a ballpark of what you think this is going to be. And he said, ballpark, without looking at what the final reports are going to be from engineering firms looking at this, is potentially $3 to $4 extra a month over a span of something like 20 to 30 years. Devin, Kimberly, back to you.
Mara, when I talked with Candace Miller last week, at that point there had been really no transitional help for her incoming office and the outgoing Public Works Director. We heard anything at all from Tony Morocco.
Not one thing, Devin, and Candace Miller hasn't either, and I'd say the transition, there was none. She essentially inherited this problem on Christmas Eve, and that's been the way it is. She also has said that a lot of the maps and the detail and the things they need here simply aren't on a computer anywhere. So they have an IT issue over there as well that is going to have to be dealt with.
Well, they sure do. One more layer to a very complex situation. All right, Mara. Kim.
A hefty reward up for grabs tonight to find the person who mutilated this dog in Southwest Detroit. We do want to warn you, you might find the video disturbing.
For a dog to sit still like that and let you do it would be beyond belief for me.
This dog doesn't have a name yet, but he certainly has a sweet face and demeanor, considering the torture he's been through.
As you can see, he's missing his nose. His ears have been removed. He's got some abrasions on his back legs. His tail has been cut off, and there's an injury to the stump that's there also.
The dog, believed to be a Rottweiler chocolate lab mix, was found Tuesday by a concerned citizen who contacted the Humane Society. It was walking in the area of Livernois and Warren on Detroit's southwest side. Veterinarians say someone purposely mutilated the animal just within the past week. But before that, they believe
somebody had him and loved him and took care of him, socialized him very well. He gets along with everybody that he's encountered so far. And despite his injuries, I mean, he still has a fantastic attitude. I'm sure there's somebody out there that would take him into their home, love him, and give him a fantastic life like he deserves.
It's a sick, sick story. Humane Society officials believe more than one person had to be involved in this. If you know anything, call the Michigan Humane Society. Again, they're offering a $2,500 reward. Devin?
Kim, millions of people are going to be watching the presidential inauguration on Friday, but a few dozen students at a Michigan elementary school will not. Their teacher is refusing to show it. Jermont Terry live with the story and more on the reason behind that decision. Jermont?
Devin, let's face it, then candidate Trump and now President-elect Trump has said some off-the-cuff and what many people consider insensitive comments. But by Friday afternoon, he will, in fact, be the 45th president. Now, that elementary school teacher says that he refuses to let his students watch Trump speak due to the previous comments. And as you mentioned, it has parents talking tonight. From Ronald Reagan to Bill Clinton to Barack Obama.
Solemnly swear.
The presidential inaugural events always capture the attention of the world. That includes elementary school students. Fourth graders at Explorer Elementary outside Lansing will watch the parade. But when Donald Trump speaks for the first time as president, one teacher plans to hit the switch.
I would be like, why can't I watch it?
11-year-old Todd is looking forward to seeing the inauguration at school and doesn't have much of an opinion about our next president.
Trump's going to become our president, and we'll see what he does with our country.
Todd's parents want him to be informed.
They should understand where he stands, and they can make their own opinions or maybe start a discussion with their family.
The teacher said he let his students watch the inaugural speeches of Presidents Obama and Bush. But in the letter sent to parents, he said he's anxious to show Mr. Trump's inaugural address, given his past inflammatory and degrading comments about minorities, women, and the disabled.
That's who we elected now. I mean, what can we say now? I mean, this is who the people wanted.
We call up with parents and elementary students at the auto show. Many believe the teacher is blocking American history.
Whether the teacher shows it or not, they're going to see it at some point.
He's going to be our next president, so we're going to have to hear things.
The school district says it has no plans to discipline this teacher, adding that he has the right to set up his curriculum as he sees fit. Reporting live tonight, Jermont Terry, Local 4.
All right, Jermont.
And I'll be in Washington, D.C. for the presidential inauguration on Friday. I'll bring you live reports from there all day on Local 4. And I should point out, too, we're going to be there on Saturday for the big Women's March on Washington.
It's a very full couple of days, isn't it?
Well, yeah, as well. Okay, well, let's check out our sky cam looking over the Detroit River, and a beautiful shot right now. We might have some fog moving in pretty soon. We can kind of see a little bit of it there on the camera.
So is it going to stick around for the morning commute? Kim is very concerned.
You know how I drive in the fog.
We've got our Uber. We're ready to go just in case. But the visibility, even though it's not at a full 10 miles, you saw the kind of gauzy picture there, it shouldn't be too bad. One of the reasons is because the clouds are hanging tough. Usually we see these start to break up before the fog starts to intensify. So if we continue with these overcast skies, fog's not going to be that much of a concern tomorrow morning. But in areas where we see some breaks, could be more of a visibility problem. Temperatures on either side of freezing. 40s back in play tomorrow. We'll see if we can get some sun in here before next week coming up.
All right, Ben. The FBI is investigating threats to Jewish centers nationwide, including the Jewish Community Center in West Bloomfield.
It's the second time in 10 days the centers have been targeted. This was the scene at the JCC about 11:30 this morning after a bomb threat was phoned in. It turned out to be a hoax, but Michigan is one of 17 states to receive threats. Detroit police are searching for the crew responsible for a shooting inside American Coney Island. The men walked into the restaurant on Lafayette last weekend and started assaulting some women. When employees stepped in, the men started getting violent. The man in the red there pulled a gun and shot a 19-year-old man. He suffered non-life-threatening injuries. Take a good look here. If you recognize the attackers, call Detroit PD.
Former President George H.W. Bush and his wife Barbara Bush will remain in the hospital in Houston tonight. President Bush is in intensive care due to respiratory problems stemming from pneumonia. The 92-year-old, we understand, is still intubated but is conscious and we're told engaged. Barbara Bush was experiencing fatigue and coughing due to bronchitis. She's staying overnight as a precaution, but obviously we will keep you advised.
A former Detroit Lion in trouble with the law tonight after a naked arrest, and it's not the first time it's happened.
Also, a wild bus crash sends people flying out of their seats. What collided with the bus that made the impact so intense? Coming up. Doc?
He's a local 4-year-old in the fight of his young life, but he's far from alone.
He has a chance to make it because of these wonderful, amazing people who are selfless and who are just giving 20 minutes of their day.
Coming up, see the force that's keeping Stephen strong and how you can be a part of it.
He's a local 4-year-old in the fight of his young life, but he's far from alone.
He has a chance to make it because of these wonderful, amazing people who are selfless.
This all started with a bump on the head, but it has turned into a force of goodwill and a 4-year-old determined to keep doing what 4-year-olds do.
Our Dr. Frank McGeorge is here with Stephen's story. Hi, Doc.
Devin and Kimberly, you know, when Stephen Hohauser developed a bump on his head last summer, his parents thought a falling shampoo bottle was to blame. But when it didn't go away and Stephen developed a fever, this Rochester Hills family suddenly found themselves facing a devastating diagnosis.
Yeah, what happened?
4-year-old Stephen loves Legos, trucks, trains, and cats. He loves his big sister Angela, too. She's been there to help hold his hand through a journey his family never imagined taking.
We found a mass in his chest and then the mass in his head, which was then biopsied, and we found out that he had stage 4 neuroblastoma.
Neuroblastoma. It's a cancer that develops from nerve cells and most often strikes children under age 5. Stephen is undergoing chemotherapy, but he's needed something else to help him fight. Regular transfusions of red blood cells and platelets.
Without, that, he wouldn't be able to continue his treatment because his body wouldn't have anything to fight with.
Mom Mariana says the impact is almost instant.
Within 5 minutes of having a blood transfusion, his cheeks become pink, he becomes alert again, he's happy, he's running around, he's playing.
It's a gift this family is forever grateful to receive.
He's my little guy. And he's only 4. He has a chance to make it because of these wonderful, amazing people who are selfless and who are just giving 20 minutes of their day to save a life, and that's beyond words.
While most people think of donated blood going to accident victims, a significant portion is needed by patients battling cancer. When blood supplies drop too low,
to know that there's a potential that they may not have any blood for him because the banks are low, I kind of freak out a little bit inside, like thinking, okay, is there going to be a good Samaritan today that's going to donate the kind that he needs?
They've created Stephen Strong bracelets and shirts to raise awareness about neuroblastoma.
We're a big Star Wars family, so this one has the lightsabers on there, and then a train because he loves trains.
They feel the force from their family, friends, and all those anonymous blood donors.
Everybody is pushing us and giving us strength.
Stephen still faces surgery at the end of the month, more chemotherapy, a bone marrow transplant, and radiation. But Mariana says his doctors are super optimistic about his prognosis.
So it's going to be a long road, but he's doing amazing and responding super well.
Through it all, Stephen is still smiling, still playing, still laughing.
We don't even do one day at a time. We do 1 hour at a time now. And go from there. And he's just an amazing little boy because he's our little champ.
The family has created a Stephen Strong Facebook page to keep everyone up to date on his fight and help raise funds for the growing medical bills. Now, of all their worries, we hope blood will not have to be one, but there is a severe shortage right now. In fact, Local 4 has teamed up with Gardner White and the Red Cross to help change that. There are drives being held tomorrow from 11 a.m. to 7:45 p.m. at the Gardner White stores in Auburn Hills, Canton, Macomb, Warren, Waterford, and Taylor, and from 11:30 until 7:15 at the Brighton store. And for more details, go to the health page at clickondetroit.com. If you can donate, please do so.
So critically important for Stephen and really anybody for that matter.
Exactly. Everyone across the region.
Yeah.
All right, Doc. Here's a look at what defender Kevin Dietz is working on for tomorrow night at 11.
A local cop caught on tape beating a defenseless motorist is coming home from prison. On Tuesday, William Melendez will be a free man.
If that video wasn't there, I wouldn't be sitting here today.
Only on Local 4, his victim is speaking out about being pulled over, punched out, and watching charges against him dropped and put on the cop who pulled him over.
I think he's a changed person.
Floyd Dent shares his feelings as the cop who assaulted him is set to be free. The Defenders, tomorrow night at 11.
It's turn now. We were joking with Kim earlier about the fog because if you missed it.
Right.
What happened with the fog?
I had an incident where the fog was so thick that I missed the turn to my house, and that was earlier in the week.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really bad. So the fact that we were going to get more of that, I just said I'm going to be ready this time.
I would be worried, yeah.
The good set up a beacon, a horn.
Right here.
The good thing is that the fog's not going to be as bad as it was 2 days ago.
Good.
There still could be some
should be fine.
I'll be okay.
Yeah.
What could possibly go wrong?
48 degrees.
Oh my goodness.
We've got a foghorn.
A foghorn.
Nice.
Okay.
Right on cue.
48 is what we saw for a high temperature today. 37 was the morning low. We're likely going to sink below that mark. In fact, we already are as we finish things out getting towards midnight. But even if we drop another degree or so, we're still going to be above our average high for the day. 32 is where we normally max out this time in January. But it is all mid-30s out there right now. Clouds have been overcast and really keeping those temperatures tightly clustered. You can see in the satellite there's really not any clearing line that's advancing across the state. We may get a couple breaks in the clouds. In fact, the model's suggesting a little bit better chance of seeing those breaks down near the state line, but that closes in pretty quickly as we head towards morning tomorrow. So possibility of some fog, more likely it's just going to be overcast through the morning. And then getting into the afternoon, clouds thinning somewhat. We're not going to see a ton of sunshine, but may see some breaks, and that may be all we see of the sun until we really get into the middle of next week. Friday brings in more clouds and some rain, and with cooler temperatures in the morning, could be a slight area mix before that becomes all liquid. Shouldn't be any issue on the roads, though, as we get started on Friday. So temperatures over the next 7 days are going to be mild. But once we get into the middle of next week, that pattern starts to change. We get colder air in here by Thursday, and that's when we start feeling a little bit more like winter. 33 though for the low temperature tonight. We saw that's pretty close to our average high for the day. Skies partially clearing out and then watching that fog possibly developing towards morning. 46 on the high side tomorrow, and that's what we're going to see in our metro zone. Here's your 4-zone forecast breaking down those numbers. Could see numbers as high as 47 in the city of Detroit and also down here near the state line. Otherwise, you get up to the west zone, cooler temperatures, but still all in the 40s, mid 40s here from Genesee County down to Michigan Avenue. And we'll escape the 30s for highs. Everybody's in the 40s in our north zone too. Coldest spot's going to be up in Sandusky at 41. So we almost got to 50 today. Looks like we'll probably get there on Saturday and then maybe on Sunday. Just a slight chance of a shower there to close the weekend, but cloudy.
Pretty dark.
Duck, goose.
Exactly. All right, Ben. Well, they were fast and furious. You'll see what thieves were after when they plowed this pickup into a business.
But first, a scary bus crash. What collided with the bus that sent people flying out of their seats? That's next.
This way.
Students on their way home from school experienced a scary situation when a bus collided with a semi. My goodness, this happened just north of Tampa, Florida. The semi driver went around a car, stopped at a light before turning left. That's when it ran right into the bus. The driver's assistant was thrown across the aisle. You see her there. She suffered minor injuries. The 5 students on board and the driver were all okay.
A truck going 60 miles an hour crashes into the front window of a gun store in Alabama. No accident. The start of a smash and grab. Once the truck was inside the store, 2 men jump out and start smashing the display cases. Grab about 16 guns, then leave the same way they came in, and they are still on the loose tonight.
A former Detroit Lion is in police custody after he was found naked outside a stranger's house. 34-year-old Stanley Wilson was arrested last week in Portland. Police say he was running around the home under the influence of drugs. Wilson is already facing charges from a case you might remember back in June when he tried to break into a home and was shot in the stomach. Wilson played for the Lions from '05 to '08.